Salut les amis! Happy full moon in the sign of Aquarius. It's time to close out some unhealthy cycles in our lives and patterns and opt for newer ones that are more conducive to us manifesting the lives of our dreams. On August 19th at approximately 2:26 p.m. Eastern Time, that will be New York, New York, we will be experiencing a full moon in the sign of Aquarius. The theme for this moon is expect the unexpected. This moon is happening at the 27th degree, and the significance of that degree is really around communication. This degree is associated with Zodiac Sign Gemini, and Gemini is all about information, the sharing of information, receiving information, gathering information, analyzing information, spreading information. Anything that has to do with knowledge that is not yet known is what this full moon is going to be about. The folks who will be the most impacted by this full moon are going to be the fixed signs. So that will be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. If you have any of these signs specifically at the rising, you will be the most impacted. However, sun, moon, and rising will also be impacted. This full moon is happening within 15 minutes of Aquarius. This is what makes it deeply impactful for the fixed signs and the fixed placements, but it's also happening within 0 to 1 degrees of the mutables. So the mutable zodiac signs will also be impacted. So that will be Gemini, yes, Virgo, yes, as well as Sagittarius and Pisces. I want to encourage you to also take a look at the degrees in your chart and make sure that you're aware of which degrees you have in your chart that are compatible with these noted zodiac signs. When doing a chart analysis, we don't just want to look at the placements. We want to make sure we're looking at the degrees because those also correspond to specific placements. And with Aquarius being ruled by both Saturn and Uranus, this is even more important as Saturn is all about the rules and Saturn is all about precision. So if you want a true accurate analysis of what's happening with your chart, looking at all factors, is going to be very, very important. So during this horoscope reading, I'm going to try to be a bit more detailed so that you have access to as much information as possible. How can all 12 zodiac signs make the most use of this full moon? A full moon is a fantastic time to manifest. Let's talk about the significance of this full moon. This is a supermoon. In the world of astrology, a supermoon is a full moon that is occurring the closest to the Earth's surface. As a result, the supermoon makes the moon itself appear to be brighter and larger, hence its name, a supermoon. As far as its impact on the rest of us, a supermoon generally brings about a lot more emotions in all of us, so don't be surprised if you feel a lot more moody. And emotional in general, which, dark emotions is very common with Uranus and Saturn energy. So expect that to be heightened. You may have heard the expression once in the blue moon. Well, that expression is referencing the blue moon. So this is a super blue moon because a blue moon is a moon that occurs hardly ever. So every time we have 3 or 4 full moons within a season, we consider that to be a blue moon because that is quite a rare occurrence, much like Aquarius being on Earth. This is going to be an extremely rare and very powerful time to manifest the life of your dreams. As you know, Aquarius rules progress, intellect, science, aviation, AI, technology, medicine. So you should expect your ability to transport yourself into a new reality to be heightened. The theme around this full moon is going to be about community. What is a community? What is a friend? What is a lover? As you know, we have the sun in Leo and the moon in Aquarius. So it's going to be about connection. What makes a friend? What makes a good lover? What makes a good community? Who are we as humans? What does it mean to be a human? And if being a human means being kind and being a humanitarian, how are we demonstrating our ability to care for ourselves and each other? This tension between wanting to be all about the self, wanting to make this earthly right about the ego, wanting to be so deeply rooted in the self that we have no issues in validating others' experience is going to be brought to light. So it's really about finding the balance between wanting to be seen and wanting to hide, wanting to be a team player and wanting to be egotistical and to dominate others and to rule over others in a way that is not honorable or kind. Those of us who struggle with more egoic personalities and self driven desires are going to be having a lot of realizations about that. And those of us who struggle with defaulting to others and not really making our needs known and hiding behind friends and families and titles as opposed to stepping into our true authentic selves are also going to be having a lot of realizations about those patterns in our lives. A full moon in astrology occurs after a culmination of a series of events that have taken place over the course of 6 months. So when the moon is full, it's full as a result of energy having built up. So, what I'm asking you to do is examine what has happened with you in the last 6 months around some of these themes. For many of you, you may have experienced some changes with your relationships because Aquarius rules friendship. You may have lost some friends and gained some new friends. Some of you may have, started some new habits that have brought in new connections into your life. Some of you may have lost some friends as a result of new hobbies and new interests that you've developed. I need you to know that all of that is normal and natural. And Aquarius has been kind of getting you ready for this transition into your higher self. And our higher selves is calling us to be of service, not just to ourselves, but to the world. The shift that all of us are going through right now on a global level, because remember, Aquarius rules the collective. Unlike some of the earlier zodiac signs that only rule themselves, the later zodiac signs like Aquarius, Capricorn, have been put over the collective. So when we have a full moon in a zodiac sign that rolls over the collective, there's a global change that is happening for all of us. So the theme around this Aquarian energy is really about how do we do community as a human race? And for Aquarius, what they know to be true is that being your true, authentic self is the only way to build genuine connections with others. Because when we are parsing ourselves out and pretending to be this person over here and pretending to be this other person over there and basically playing this game where we're becoming whoever and whatever is needed in the moment so we can get what we need, what ends up happening is that a lot of people know us, but no one really knows us. So this sense of connection, this sense of love and deep enmeshment that love brings about is something that ends up evading us. So we can talk the talk or we can walk the walk. But ideally, we are doing both, which is being who we say that we are, no matter who's around. This full moon is coming to show us the ways in which we are keeping ourselves from blossoming into our ideal selves. Because Aquarius is saying, be yourself, be weird. Be as weird and quirky as you want to be. You know why? Because everybody is weird and quirky. It's not just you, it's all of us. And the people who judge you for being quirky and weird are often the people who do not like themselves for being their own quirky and weird selves. So those are definitely not the people that you want to use as an example for how life should be. So if you have people in your friendship group who are not supportive of you transcending the old reality that you had and stepping into your higher self, your more energetically powerful self, then these are the people that you have noticed over the past 6 months that you've been distancing yourself from. If you have Lilith in Aquarius, you've gone through a lot of huge transitions in the last 6 months because Lilith in Aquarius is a star seed. And these are people that have never felt comfortable in their own family. That wherever they go, they never feel comfortable because they don't actually belong on earth. They merely came to give us a gift, and that gift is the knowledge that we are part of each other. This is what Aquarius knows. Leo knows that they are a star. Aquarius knows that all of us are stars, and all of us make a constellation. So when all of us are shining the brightest, then the Milky Way and the constellation, our entire solar system is shining brightly. But when only some of us are living in our purpose while others of us are avoiding our purpose, we will continue living in darkness. And quite frankly, it takes all of us, not just some of us, but all of us, to tap into our higher selves for the frequency on earth to reach a higher vibration. And that vibration that we're aiming for is one of love and community, which intrinsically is what we're all seeking. But unfortunately, many of us have learned some really unhealthy and maladaptive ways of surviving, especially if we've grown up with a scarcity mindset, or we've grown up with a lot of survival mode being activated, a lot of fears, which is really the opposite of love. It can be very hard for us to see ourselves in each other, even though we are one another's brothers and sisters, even though we all came from the same place, even though together we are all one human race, one group. And this is the message that COVID came to teach us, that when it comes down to it, all of us are not that much different from one another, biologically, spiritually, emotionally, in terms of what it means to be a human and how a human works. The only differences between us as humans are our actions and our intentions. Some of us have pure, bright hearts, and some of us not so much. And at the end of the day, when we all are dying or dead in the grave, the things that will be important about us will not be egocentric. They will be about the gifts that we were blessed enough or lucky enough to have an opportunity to leave behind, to give to others when we're gone. And Aquarius knows ultimately that is the meaning of life, is to add value to others' lives in a way that inspires them to be better or greater than what they ever imagined about themselves. This full moon is highlighting a deep desire within all of us to belong, to be accepted, to be loved, to be accepted for exactly who we are, not an idea of who we are, but exactly who we are, with all of our beauty and all of our warts. Because truth be told, we all have beauty and warts. We all have skills. We all are a genius in a specific area. Aquarius is asking all of us to step into our power by owning our genius. Because the people that spend their lives competing with others for attention, for resources, for time, for a sense of importance, are often the people who do not recognize their own greatness, because those that do go within to remind themselves of who they are. And when all of us are in alignment with our divine purpose, we don't see each other as competition, but rather as a part of one another. And that is what Aquarius is calling us to. The challenge with this full moon is because Leo is at the sun, the ego wants to be seen. The ego wants to be heard. The ego wants to be celebrated. That's Leo energy. Leo is the ego. Leo is the sun. Leo gives life. But Aquarius, the sister of Leo, wants to hide. Aquarius doesn't want to be seen. Aquarius is a darker star. Aquarius shines the brightest during darkness. So this full moon is going to bring about some darkness. Scandals, secrets will be exposed. You may know that the Democratic National Convention is happening on the 19th on the first day. I'm not sure if they have an astrologer, but that was certainly not the best day that I would have picked, especially during Mercury retrograde. So don't be surprised if you hear news, because Mercury is about information, right? Mercury rules Gemini. So news, information that comes to you very, very fast, because Uranus is all about progress and experimentation, about things that you didn't know, things that are shocking, because Aquarius is like lightning in astrology. Leo is the sun, Aquarius is lightning, and Aquarius shocks. So don't be surprised if you hear a lot of news that is deeply scandalous. Now let's get into some of the aspects of this moon that are going to bring about some tension. We have Uranus in Taurus having some tension with this full moon. This full moon is going to basically make us feel stagnant. It's going to derail the normalcy and routine that we have currently cultivated into our lives. Some of that derailment may be around topics of money. As you know, Taurus is all about resources. So banking systems, there may be some concerns around that. There may be some concerns around housing. Some of you might be moving or might be forced to move. So expect your routine to get disrupted by this full moon. We also have Mercury retrograde creating a square with this full moon. So this tension here is going to be around being punished or feeling like you're being punished for speaking your truth or speaking the truth, and feeling like you're not being heard. That even though you can see things crystal clear, the information is not able to be received to the other parties that you're mentioning it to. Venus in Virgo is creating a harsh aspect with Saturn retrograde in Pisces, so expect some quarrels with your lovers if you're in partnership, and if you're not in partnership, expect some changed emotions around your desire to even look for somebody. If you're currently on apps, like looking to meet somebody, you may have this impulse to just cancel everything and delete everything, and just kind of want to start back from scratch, wanting to do it in a more authentic, kind of natural way. This aspect particularly brings about feelings of isolation because, Virgo is not very emotional, but more mechanical. So there's a lot of insecurities here with Virgo. So there's a lot of wanting to withdraw, wanting to distance yourself, wanting to retreat. Jupiter in Gemini is also square this Saturn in Pisces. And the concern here is that you may develop this feeling that the universe is against you. So in other words, there's a lot of negativity here around not feeling lucky, not being able to make progress, and not being able to get the fruit of your labor. So you may find yourself doing all the right things and feeling as though you are not being compensated for your efforts. Almost as if you are being punished for being logical, for being consistent, for following what you know to be true, for knowing things that you shouldn't know and using them to your advantage. And the drama doesn't just stop there. On August 22nd, we're also going to have Venus square Mars. So more of this kind of conflict with our self-love and our love of others. So while this Venus in Virgo is emphasizing, how we feel about ourselves and our own insecurities, Venus square Mars is more about our lovers. So quarrels with our lovers, fights with our lovers, and desiring perfection out of our lovers, something that, you and I know is not possible. Those of us that have been in long-term relationships understand that perfection, it does not exist in ourselves. Therefore, we cannot require it from others. So this energy is going to bring about a lot of tension around love, specifically because the sun is currently a Leo. And as you know, Leo is all about the ego. Leo's sun, that is all about the ego. The flip side of this energy, though, is that there's a lot of tension in the air, a lot of sexual tension. So for those of you that are in partnership, this is going to be great lovemaking time. So take your time, do it well, because this full moon is going to be evident for 3 days to the naked eye. So it's going to be a spectacular start to next week if you're in partnership and feeling good about where you are in your relationship. I'm going to be candid and let you know that we are in the middle of some of the worst astrology of 2024, and it's going to be a very challenging next 6 months. I've mentioned to you guys before that we currently have several planets that are retrograde. So that in and of itself already sets the tone for what you may expect. And yes, we do have Jupiter in Gemini, but when you consider the aspect of this full moon against that Jupiter placement, you can see that the luck that we're experiencing is not really heightened. Everything is suppressed, and we're being asked to slow down and reflect. Some of the other harsh aspects we're experiencing this week are Mercury square Uranus, Venus opposing Saturn. We have the Sun square Uranus, Jupiter square Saturn, and Venus square Mars. The goal here is to maintain our vision and to stick to our true authentic selves, our true authentic feelings, and to go for gold, to be willing to slow down, to do it right, to do the right thing, and to do what we know feels true to our gut. I personally believe that all humans were created and sent to Earth to do something great. I personally believe that God has put that greatness in every child that is born. Everybody was born with genius inside of them. Unfortunately, when children come to Earth, they meet dream killers who basically take their God-given powers away from them. And many people end up never manifesting the lives of their dreams because they're bought into their dream killers' stories about who they are. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. You're not kind enough. You're not beautiful enough. You're not successful enough. You're not popular enough. you're not well-to-do enough, you're not cultured enough. Everybody in the whole world has received some of these messages at some point. And then some people chose to go, you're right, I'm not. And then they stopped dreaming. And then others chose to refuse that invitation and persist with their vision for themselves. And those people are often successful. Aquarius is calling all of us back to being who we were made to be. And we were all made in love. So we were all sent here to be socially conscious people who care about not just ourselves, but our community and our families. And that is the true test of what it means to be a human. It is somebody who loves deeply. Yes. Zodiac sign Aquarius is generally a very easygoing zodiac sign. You know, they're very chill, they're very laid back, they're very unbothered, they're very not moved by very much. They're not moved by very much. They're very much so in their zone. You know, Aquarius appears to like always be on chill vibes. But unfortunately, this full moon is not going to bring that kind of energy because of all these harsh aspects, in addition to it being a super full blue moon. It's going to be an extremely different time. It's going to be a lot more tense. There's going to be a lot of tension in the air, and the goal is to really stay grounded. So I would encourage you to engage in physical exercise, yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi. These are ways to mitigate some of that tension. Keep your feet on the ground. Keep your feet underneath your body, okay? Even though a lot of things are going to be happening, do not lose your head. Aquarius is the smartest zodiac sign because when all fails, they default to their logic. So make sure that you keep yourself grounded in what you know for sure to be true about who you are and what kind of world you want to create. I've already mentioned that this full moon is happening on the first day of the Democratic National Convention. That should already tell you the politics here in the US are going to be shocking, okay? We have a Gemini sun and a Gemini rising running. You want to talk about drama, you want to talk about gossip, you want to talk about throwing dirt back and forth, just keep taking deep breaths, because the level of pettiness and childishness that is going to unravel here in the United States between now and the election is going to be the kind that we have never seen ever before. I need you to be prepared for that. In addition, this is the only full moon in Aquarius that all of us are going to be experiencing. And as you know, Aquarius is an excellent manifester. So more of a reason for you to really focus on manifesting your wildest dreams with this full moon, because Aquarius is a zodiac sign that is never defeated. Never defeated. Entirely underestimated, and they prefer it that way. This full moon is also a seasonal blue moon and the only blue moon of 2024. So if you were confused about its level of importance in the cosmos, these are all the facts that you need regarding that. Now, on to the final aspects about this full moon that I want to bring attention to, and we're going to move on to talk about how to manifest with your zodiac sign, and I will be going over all 12 zodiac signs. We have Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo, so a lot of issues with ego are going to come up. Expect issues with the internet crashing, social media sites crashing, with communication, secrets coming to light, scandals. We may even experience some flights being delayed. As you know, Aquarius rules aviation. It's the god of the air. So flights being delayed, planes crashing, things of that nature. You should expect all of that. There's going to be issues around internet hacks. If you haven't received a letter yet from anyone about your information being compromised and your data being compromised, you should expect that. There are going to be letters coming to many of you about your data being breached and your data being compromised and hackers getting access to your personal information. I do want to note here, though, that with Pluto being in Aquarius, this is going to be a theme over the next 20 years. This whole like dark web hacking of information is going to be a consistent and persistent thing that all of us have to deal with. The recommendation for that is that folks change their passwords every couple of months to ensure security, because Aquarius is all about bringing their truth to light. So all dark energies that are pretending to be light energies will be exposed over the next couple of weeks. specifically over the next 6 months, and even more so over the next 20 years, because the era that we're entering now is going to be an era of authenticity. That means that our intentions have to be pure, our actions have to be pure, and the work that we're doing has to be for the greater good, not just about stroking our own ego. We also have Jupiter squares Saturn, and when Jupiter squares Saturn, we get tension because these two planets are completely in opposition. Saturn, as you know, is the lord of restriction. Saturn is about karma. Saturn is about punishment. Saturn is about rules and law and order. And Jupiter is about expansion and not having any limits and being free and traveling the world. So when the planet of luck and the planet of karma are at war, what you can expect is to not feel lucky. What you can expect is some tension, is, a battle, a war, or feeling like you are not able to get the same results that you normally get. Because Saturn is all about patience. Saturn does not reward freely and easily. Saturn rewards after years and years of demonstrating that you are doing the right thing. Saturn does not reward you for just doing a little bit of the right thing. Saturn wants you to do the right thing over a long period of time in order for you to be rewarded. We also have 3 T-squares happening around this full moon in Aquarius. A T-square in astrology is a pretty unusual occurrence. So to have 3 of them happening with this rare full blue moon means that something crazy and out of the box is going for sure to be happening, especially here in the US, within the next couple of weeks. Some of the topics around the scandals that I see coming out are going to be around politics, around government, around institutions, around community, connection, freedom of expression. You may have noticed that many of the apps that we use to socialize now are becoming more restrictive, with people being able to voice their opinions about certain topics of social justice nature. Well, there's going to be more of that happening over the next 20 years. I think over the next 20 years, people are going to decenter social media, in favor of more authentic connections and communication. I, for one, am very excited about that. Those of you who follow my account know that I've been playing around with the idea of using promotions to market my social media. And the more I've been doing it, the less I see the value in it. There are many areas where I have decided, yeah, maybe I'm going to reduce it. Maybe I'm not going to do it anymore. And it's just the mere idea of having to promote, something that you are here to share with others. I think on some level I feel a bit uncomfortable with that, but that's just like a me issue, right? But then the other part of it too is that when you are creating content, it's because you want it to be seen and you want it to be heard and you want to make an impact. And unfortunately, many of these sites, algorithms are not fair to everyone in the way that information is shared. So if the algorithm doesn't deem your information worthy, your information simply gets buried at the bottom of the stack. And that's the way it works, because it's not fair. It's not set up to give everybody an equal chance to be seen and heard. And many of you know this, and you can see that more obviously on TikTok, where somebody will create a dance, and more often than not, it's a person of color, a Black person creating some sort of dance. And then that dance goes viral with somebody else who's not that person doing the dance. And now everybody thinks that somebody else is really the creator of that dance. And no one even knows who is the originator of that idea, of that mechanism, of that artistry. So there's a lot of that happens. So as a Black woman myself, I struggle with that, because I know the algorithm is not in favor of, our faces being, promoted on these apps. And oftentimes when they're testing the algorithm for these apps and they're using a subject for recognition, it's certainly not a Black woman that they're using. So I myself have been having some internal conversations with myself about promotion. How important is it? How valuable is it? Is it necessary? Is it not? And trying to find that balance between the ego, who says, this is important, this needs to be seen, and, the authentic aspect of me, who says, whatever is meant to be with this information will be, because it will reach whoever it's meant to reach. That's really what all of us are being called to at this time. So I just wanted to use myself as an example to illustrate that this is something everybody's experiencing. If you're in the same boat, it's not just you, it's all of us. because Aquarius is calling us to authenticity, but unfortunately we live in this system that does not value authenticity and that actively suppresses authenticity. So we have to be crafty and thoughtful about how we go about preserving authenticity. And sometimes that means employing the tools of the opposition to be able to make sure that what we are discussing or what we want to get out there in the world is being heard.
How are you feeling? Are you enjoying the content so far? If so, I've got more great content for you. My main YouTube channel is called Intuitive Healing. There, I teach general information about astrology. If you wish to use the secrets embedded in your astrology natal chart to manifest the life of your dream, you want to follow my Astrology Weekly podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify. I produce weekly episodes. It also has a corresponding YouTube channel called Astrology Weekly Podcast that you can follow, and make sure to turn on the notification bell. If you want some hands-on support with manifestation, you can join my manifestation group on Patreon. It is a free group, however, some of the posts are only for paid members. If you wish to incorporate healing crystals into your manifestation process, you can go to styledunder.com to shop your favorite sustainable fashion accessories and healing crystals. And lastly, remember to follow us on social media at Intuitive Healing on Instagram, X, TikTok, and Threads. And on Facebook, we are at Styled Under. So stop by, subscribe, follow, like, comment, share, and be social. Thanks for watching. Now on to our next segment.
If you are an Aries rising, this is going to be right at home for you because this falls on your 11th house. The 11th house, as you know, is ruled by Aquarius, and the 11th house is the sign of friendship. Aquarius is a sign of brotherhood. So for you, this is a time to ask yourself, what is a friend? How does a friend behave? What does it mean to be a good friend? What does a good friend do? What does it mean to be a not so good friend? In what ways are you a good friend? In what ways do you have good friends? And what are some things that you need to change within your friend group so you can make sure that your needs are being met? The 11th house is all about friendships, our social awareness, our humanitarian efforts, technology, science, medicine. It's about our hopes and wishes for the future. So it's also about what sort of contribution are we making to life on Earth? Are we making to our human brothers and sisters that we're sharing this ride with? What sort of impact are we having on them? And how are we using our power in this world, our privilege, if you will, to basically help those that are less privileged than us come up? So we're looking at each other eye to eye, as opposed to, ignoring their suffering or pretending that everyone is equal when clearly we know everyone isn't. So for you, it's about social activism and becoming more of a humanitarian and fostering relationships with people who share your ethics and your values, because relationships should be rooted, if they're meaningful, in the heart. And the best way to share hearts is to share values and ethics, because ultimately that is our karma in this world. If you are a Taurus, this falls for you in the 10th house. This is all about your career. Taurus, I know with Uranus being in Taurus now, there's been a preoccupation with your career, your profession. And I know last year was very tough because you weren't making progress. The beginning of this year was a lot better. So you may have gotten lost in overworking and doing a lot of work-related things and not really taking the time to nurture yourself. I want to remind you, Taurus, to stay grounded in who you are and stay grounded in your mental health and stay grounded in you trusting yourself and trusting that you were brought here for a special purpose. So it's not in burning yourself out that you're going to reach that goal, but rather in honoring who you are. So this full moon is really calling you to put your career where it belongs. Do not neglect every other aspect of life for the sake of a career, because when you finally do get to where you want to be, who do you want to be celebrating with? And if you haven't been spending time to nurture those relationships, or if you've been neglecting them, it's not going to feel as sweet as you want it to feel. So it's really about enjoying the ride a little bit more than the destination. So for you, over the next 2 weeks, you may come to realize the ways in which you have not been really, treating yourself as a whole human person, where you've been kind of prioritizing the machine of Taurus rising, going after the things they want, being a go-getter and getting the trophy, and not really prioritizing these other aspects that keep you grounded. As an earth sign, being grounded is very important, so I hope that you prioritize that. If you are a Gemini rising, during this time, you may notice an increase in your spirituality, in your faith, in your consciousness, in your spiritual elevation. Take it easy, but do recognize that your lack of faith and spirituality is part of what's keeping you from growing. When it comes to faith, we need to be all in to what we believe. It's not enough to do rituals. It's not enough to want to manifest. We have to believe in our manifestations. I say this often to people. We don't manifest what we want, we manifest who we are. We don't manifest what we want, we manifest who we are. So if you are not pure-hearted in your manifestations, and if your manifestations are not for what is good, what is wholesome, what is holy, what is helpful, what is of service, then naturally what you're inviting into your life is that energy, because we manifest what we are. So this is going to be a time for you to really deepen your faith, your belief in your ability to create your dream life, your belief in your ability to free yourself from some of the negative perceptions that people have given you over the course of your life about who you are, and your willingness to really have the courage to go for the gold, to go for your authenticity, to own your true self, and to be free. And as you know, true freedom is in the mind. They can lock up your body, but they can never lock up your mind. So it's important that you feed your soul and your mind of truth that are eternal, because the true gift of life is to leave something behind that is eternal. And these are things like love, peace, justice, kindness, compassion. These things will never get out of style, especially generosity, which we know you have loads of. If you are Cancer rising, this falls for you in the 8th house. Cancer, is time for you to let something go. Something that you've been feeling in the last 6 months that you needed to let go. This is going to be a great opportunity for you to purge, what has been standing in the way of you living into your true, authentic, idealistic self. As a Cancer rising, you naturally share a lot of idealism with Aquarius, but the difference is Cancers can get so wrapped up in their own feelings and dark emotions that they lose sight of the fact that other people have feelings too, and that their feelings are not the only feelings to care about, and that their actions that come from their negative emotions affect other people very deeply in the same way they feel affected by life very deeply. So Cancer risings generally, even though they're here to be of service to others and very loving, when they're not in their right vibration, they can become very selfish and very egocentric in the way that they want to manipulate and hog all of the good energy in the room. And when others are having a good energy, and if they're not in a good energy, they want to ruin others' good energy. They're not energetically generous at all when they're not in their good energy, and they're very negative and very depressed, angry people who simply refuse to professionally address their mental health issues. And as a result, what they do is spread it to other people, unwarranted. So this is an opportunity to realize how your lack of self-care is actually playing into your inability to actually be the person of service that you were made to be. Cancer is the mother of the zodiac. Cancer is a nurturer. What do mothers do? They take care of their children. So a Cancer rising who does not take care of anyone other than themselves is not in alignment with manifestation energy, because manifestation energy is God's energy. It's love energy. And in order to love others, we have to love ourselves. So this is an opportunity for you to address the ways in which you deprive yourself of love, which makes it hard for you to love everyone. Not just yourself, not just your immediate person, but everybody. Because Aquarius knows that all of us are here to love each other. That is the only reason we were sent to Earth. Moving on to Leo rising, for you, this falls in the 7th house. This is going to be a great opportunity for you to examine your marriage, if you're married, or your business partnership, and make sure that there is truth and authenticity in these connections. And if there isn't, don't be surprised or alarmed if some of these connections start to feel like they're pulling away from one another. You know, all relationships are not supposed to last forever, Leo. I know that you have a hard time letting go and you don't like, feeling like you're abandoning people, but I need you to know that your life's purpose is greater than any business relationship and any love relationship. The purpose that God has given you to fulfill here on earth requires your whole heart and soul. Leo rising, you are a soul-centered person, a heart-led person. So if there isn't any honor and decency and dignity in the way that others are doing relationship with you, then it's time for you to sever those relationships in favor of relationships that give you more freedom to be authentically who you are, that reward your contribution, that acknowledge the light that you bring to them and to the space that you're in, and give yourself a chance to go for something new, to go for the unusual, the weird, the uncanny, the bizarre, and watch that bring all of your desires to life. You know, this is a time for you to be a little bit more like Aquarius, a little more restricted, to pull back your energy, because if you're a Leo, you already come with a lot of commanding energy, and if people are not respecting that command, then you give them nothing. And that's what Aquarius is very good at. When you do not respect Aquarius's energy, they pull all the way back and become the biggest ice queen you've ever met. So this might be an opportunity for you, Leo, to practice some of that. Like, yes, it's good to be loving and give your love to everybody, but when that love is not returned, then that's obviously not somebody you can share love with. Because the people that want to share love with you, they simply do. Love is not that complicated, in fact. Despite what we've heard about love, it's actually not that complicated. When people have the right intentions and the right desires in their heart, it's easy because they want to make the other person feel good, and they want to treat the other person fairly because it brings them a great deal of distress to harm the person that they love. But if people are not treating you fairly, then they obviously don't love you. Moving on to Virgo rising. This falls for you in your 6th house. So this is normally where you would be at home, Virgo, in your 6th house. This is about you finding God in the mundane, finding truth in the mundane, and bringing your spirituality to your day-to-day. It's not about perfection. It's not about what could have been, what would have been, what should have been. It's not about the what ifs of life. It's about accepting what is. We're here now. It is what it is. What can I do with what I have right here, right now? It's about finding truth in your day-to-day task. It's about putting some spirituality behind your task. As an example, some of the things that, some of our grandmothers used to do when they're gardening is every time that they're planting a new plant, they would put water on it. And then with that water, they would have a prayer or invocation for that plant. So when you're doing mundane tasks like gardening, as an example, you're washing dishes or you're cooking a dinner, instead of you thinking like, oh, at 5:15, I got to go make dinner for my family, it could be at 5:15, I'm going to, bless my family with love. And when you're dicing up those tomatoes and those peppers that you're putting in that dish, you're thinking about how your family is going to be healthy because of this meal they've had. They're going to be full. They're going to be content. They're going to be happy. So Virgo, there's a powerful energy here that you're missing out on when you're not pulling from your sister Pisces, because you already have the mechanics of how to manifest. The other piece of it is the faith part. And the faith part is what we need to cultivate because we live in the physical realm. And that requires bringing ourselves back to our soul. So it's not just enough to cook the meal, especially if we're doing it and we're frustrated and we're angry. That's not the energy we want to feed people that we love. Because when you truly love someone, everything that you do for them, you do it from a pure heart. And if you're not doing it from a pure heart, it's best to not do it at all, because God will not reward you for doing things out of a heart that isn't pure. The benefit that you think you're getting from it, you will not be receiving it. So this is really about you acknowledging what feels right for you, what feels good for you, how to stay true to what feels right. So everything you're doing out of a pure heart is meaningful and impactful. Moving on to Libra rising. Libra, this is an opportunity for you to embrace your art, your weirdness, your quirky friends. If you're living right, you should already have a few of those. I want to encourage you to let them lead you into some weird activities you've never done before. Maybe you're going to try a new exercise routine. Maybe it's a new diet routine. Maybe it's a new artistic expression. Try new things, branch out. This is about you bringing joy and love back into your heart. It's time for you to try things you've never tried. It's time for you to try new romance, new romance, to meet new people, to enjoy life, to feel whole, to do things that fill up your heart. You remember when you were little, the things that you used to love to do? It's time for you to bring that back up. And it's really about you staying true. Libra is the most self-denying zodiac sign out of all of them. This is often why Libra as a zodiac sign ends up being not a very good friend in general, because they hardly ever know how to stand up for themselves, which then makes it difficult for them to stand up for the people that they love. Not because they don't want to, but they don't know how to, because they don't do it for themselves. You see, the thing about authenticity and truth is that it comes from within, and it is a practice. As an example, I am a gay Black woman in America. Whenever I meet people and I look, because of the way that I look, people assume that I am not gay. So I have to constantly come out to people. I am gay. I am gay. I am gay. I am gay. And, the more you do it, the less you care about coming out. But obviously, the first time I felt like I was going to hyperventilate. But now it's a lot easier because I've been doing it for so many years. So because I insist on being true to myself about who I am, it's easy for me to be true to others in all settings. And it's easy for me to stand up for others because I'm willing to stand up for myself. The only reason I am a huge advocate for social justice is because I am a huge advocate for myself. And I understand how social issues impact me personally and other people as well. So I don't just care about gay issues, I care about every human having the right to be who they are without others trying to suppress their humanity. So, Libra, I share that to say a huge part of your inability to manifest is often rooted in your self deception. And if you want to get better at it, it requires that you be true to yourself, that you tell yourself the truth about who you are. Again, it's not about perfection, but it's about being honest with yourself about who you are, because only then will you be willing to risk your comforts for the sake of looking out for others who are less privileged than you are. And I know this year has been very, very challenging for you. And I know this time period is very challenging for you in general. You read along with Pisces and Aries, and Aquarius. I know it's been rough for you guys, but the difficulties are coming really to highlight for you what you need to let go of, old habits that you may have learned perhaps from the way you were raised that are no longer serving you, old habits that are keeping you from being great and for being, true and authentic and happy with who you are. So if you're Libra rising, this is a wonderful opportunity because this is an Aquarius full moon and it's also an air sign full moon for you to literally manifest anything that you want. Imagine a world where you can actually be yourself without having to pretend to be something else, where you could be who you really are in every room that you're in. Imagine that world. Yes, that world may come with some restrictions that you don't currently have, but think about the amount of freedom that it will also give you that you do not currently have. It's not all about just losing, it's also about gaining. Moving on to Scorpio rising, for you, you're going to get some big news in your family because for you, this falls in the fourth house. And the fourth house in astrology really rules the home. The fourth house is about our roots, our history. It's about our ability to take care of ourselves, our emotional well-being, our foundation, our relationship with our mother or birth mother, our children, the women in our family, and our femininity. For many of you, there's going to be new information in those areas that rock your world. You're going to be confronted with some news in those specific areas that you have to deal with. that you didn't see coming. Scorpio rising, I know that you're very good at discovering every secret imaginable, but you're not God, right? Only God knows all the things. So from time to time, there is going to be a rug that is pulled from underneath you, where people that you thought you knew or trusted, share information with you that you never saw coming. This is not about you, fighting this truth. That's not why it's coming. This is coming to teach you that you're not in control. And the best way to have control is to let go of control. Because when you prepare yourself for the unexpected, then nothing is shocking. Nothing is surprising, nothing is disturbing, because you're ready for any and everything. But when you get so rooted in the physical realm and get so rooted into this desire to control each and everything that you've ever encountered, you don't leave room for faith. And manifestation is about faith. It's about spirit work, and it's about the unknown, the non-tangible. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to manifest if you are willing to let go. So this is calling you to be willing to see everyone for who they are, including yourself. Including yourself. So this is a time for you to reflect on how your desire to manipulate other people's perception of you has created this false reality that you're now faced with in your relationships. If you've presented people with a certain persona of you, a certain aspect of your personality that they believe is who you are, when you start making changes to that, those people are going to react to that. They're going to react to those changes, and they may not react favorably. If, as an example, you presented yourself to be somebody that was acquiescing to all of their needs, somebody that didn't have any standards, somebody that didn't care and would go with the flow, and they thought you were doing it out of the kindness of your heart, but come to find out you were doing it to manipulate them, to have control over them, so that you could always feel like you had somebody that you could latch on to and nobody would abandon you, they will start taking you for granted, because we only respect people with boundaries. That's just human nature. When something is easily accessible and it's offered to us in loads and loads and loads, we don't value it. So when they start taking you for granted because you have no boundaries, you can't then turn around and be angry that they're taking you for granted for not having boundaries, when you've told them that the only way to interact with you is if they don't have boundaries. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm just giving that to you as an example to illustrate how this full moon is coming to free you from that. And the truth of the matter, Scorpio, is that you want control. You want to be able to dominate. You want to be able to call the play, because you're a power zodiac sign. I need you to own that. I need you to feel good about that. And I need you to have enough self-respect to demand what you deserve with no apologies. Because when you get in that energy, what you will notice is you attract who you're supposed to attract, and you repel who you're supposed to repel. And all of it is good no matter what, because you're being true. So own your power, Scorpio. Own your power in your relationship with your mother. Own your power in your relationship with the women in your lives. And own your power in your relationship with your home. Own your tradition. Own your history. Own your baggage. Heal yourself. This is what this is all about for you. Because a lot of the reason why you play manipulative games to have the upper hand is because you are insecure about your ability to get your needs met if you were to just put them on the table. And what I'm here to tell you, my dear, is that you don't have to be insecure, because everybody already knows you're very powerful. You're just the last one to find out. So just speak your truth. Everybody will fall into place. I promise you. Moving on to Sagittarius rising, for you this falls in the third house. It's time for you to speak truth to power. Sagittarius, much like Aquarius, is a truth zodiac sign. They're very set on exploring the truth, discovering new information. This is going to be a wonderful opportunity for you, Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is actually a soulmate of Aquarius. You are slated to be one of the number one people who get the most out of the full moon, because of this sort of compatibility that you share with Aquarius. This is prime rebellious energy for you. So if you've been a people pleaser, if you've been somebody who has allowed others to overshadow them, that's gone. We're doing away with that, because you're now being called to step into a true, more authentic, more courageous, more bold version of who you are. Gone are the days of you people pleasing, you overextending yourself, you being extra kind to people, bending over backwards to help others who basically deny your humanity and are not willing to give you half of the things that you give them. Done. From now on, you only give the things that you generally want to give as an act of service, as a donation, or you only enter into business partnerships. And there's equal give and take. Because when there is no equal give and take, it's not for you, because relationships require fairness. And a person who's not willing to be honest with you, who's not willing to accept you as you are, is a person who's not fair to you. You cannot build a healthy relationship with a person who does not want to acknowledge your humanity. It's impossible. So for you, it's going to be about using your voice to really speak up about the issues that are important to you, the social issues that are important to you. It's going to be about using your time to build your intellect about SATA issues, to really feed your mind with information that allows you to be a more well-rounded individual, a more global cultured individual. And it's about nourishing relationships that are truly beneficial for you, in the sense that they add value to your life by giving you a new perspective, a new philosophy, a new way to conceptualize this human existential experience that we all are having. It's about enhancing your cognitive abilities by centering yourself in your world and in your ability to really attract and manifest only relationships that nourish you, mind, body, and soul. This is what the universe wants to bring you with this full moon. But of course, it requires letting go of what no longer serves you. Capricorn rising. For you, this falls in the second house. Capricorn, you may have noticed some changes with your finances. I would not be surprised if you've been struggling with money over the past 6 months in terms of how to utilize your money to make more money. And Capricorn, I need you to know that a lot of life success with manifestation isn't just about what we do, but it's also about how we do it, okay? And why we do it. So the intentions behind it give it spiritual meaning and power. And the how is what astrology helps us with, which is timing. So you may have felt that a lot of the efforts that you're putting in is not giving you back what you expected. I need you to know that that is okay. This may be a good opportunity for you to go back to the drawing board and figure out some new creative, out of the box way to make things happen for you. It doesn't all have to be by the book, Capricorn. You know, if you're somebody who's naturally by the book as a Capricorn rising, then it's time to relax, to take a deep breath, and to have a little bit more fun. Again, it's not worth it if it's not fun. Remember, the sun is in Leo, because the passion that we have for it is what keeps us going. The fun is what keeps us going. When all of it is dead and gone, what's going to be left behind is our heart. You know, the hearts that we've touched, and the heart that's within us that we left with other people. And that passion can come through our art, our creativity, our hobbies, our love, you know, our children, whatever it is. You need to put your full heart into it. And when you put your full heart into it, you want it to also feed you. So, in other words, it's not enough to just throw money at some of these problems. I want you to take a step back and examine how you feel about the thing you're doing and whether it's worthwhile to you. Because if it is, then I understand that what that means is that you should be willing to play with it. Because the thing is, you share Saturn with Aquarius, which is all about following the rules, being rule bound. So there's a great opportunity here for you to figure out how to tighten your system in terms of your career and how you go about doing the things that you do. And all of that is beautiful. But if you're not finding a sense of satisfaction and soulful compensation for your work, which is really why we do what we do, is because we all are called to do what we do. And when you're in alignment with your divine purpose, you do it because it feeds your soul, and the rest of it comes later. So if your focus is on feeding your soul, then I need you to know that whatever investment you're making into it is going to come back to you. But it requires that you be patient, because Uranus is about progress, and it's about a light bulb. It's you know, Aquarius is the light bearer. It's about bringing new knowledge, new truth, new information to the world, while Saturn is about restriction. So you may have to use some unusual means to get to your goal, and that is okay. I just want you to be open to a strategy that isn't necessarily a by the book strategy. I want you to play around with the possibility of a strategy that is a little odd, a little awkward, a little bit like turning something around, like taking something that is considered bad and turning it around to make it work for you, because you're doing it for fun. You're not doing it for any other reason than to have fun. If you've been having too much fun though, and not enough, you haven't been as disciplined, then it's time for you to rein it in, and it's time for you to think of a practical way to preserve your resources and your money management skills. It's time for you to prioritize the stability of your finances over experimentation, over overspending, and doing too much shopping. So your finances are getting a makeover. Your home is also getting a makeover. Some of you may be physically moving to another part of the country. All of that is perfectly normal, because if you're not planted on fertile grounds, it doesn't matter what you do, how much water or fertilizer you're given, you're just not going to bloom. Sometimes you just need to transpose yourself to another location to be able to bloom. I need you to be open to the possibility of change for the sake of the results that you want. Okay, that's really what this is about. Like, yes, we can do this the good old traditional way, but is there another way to do this, that is more change oriented, that is more futuristic, where we focus on having fun and still getting the same results? Aquarius rising, this is your time to shine. This full moon is all about you and your specific needs. You should be at home with this energy of being a rebel, being authentic, not giving a shit, and really living your life on your terms. If you've been living right, this is how you've been living. So you're being called to really let those colors shine, to really highlight your quirkiness, and to let all of your weirdness like hang dry for everybody to see. It's really about you coming out of hibernation and coming out of hiding and coming out of this desire to downplay your intelligence or your looks or your charm so that you don't overshadow others. A lot of Aquarian rising struggle with being their authentic selves because they're very sensitive to other people's needs, and they're never want to take over the room in the way that Leo enjoys taking over the room. Aquarius gets a little bit uncomfortable when they have too many eyes on them. So for Aquarius, generally at the rising, they prefer to not be center stage, and they prefer to, only be center stage about issues that matter, issues that really change the vibration of the collective of the world. And it's time for you to step into that, because that's why you were sent here, Aquarius. It was for you to help make the world a better place, much like Aries rising. So in order to do that, you have to be brave, you have to be bold. And it starts with you loving yourself deeply so that you can embrace all that you are. And in you just doing that, you will subconsciously, energetically free other people to also embrace who they are. Because part of your purpose is to free people by them just being exposed to you, because your energy is truly, truly a gift. Because you're the most accepting zodiac sign, and you struggle the most with understanding how come we can't all just share resources so everybody has enough water, everybody has enough food, everybody has a home, everybody has clothes. Aquarius simply does not get why, as humans, we cannot come together to figure that out. So Aquarius rising, this is your time to bloom and your time to shine, and it comes from you recognizing the ways in which you've been hiding who you are, so that you can do away with the insecurities that are at the root of this desire to hide and let your flag fly free. Okay? This is all about rebellion, independence, and really being true to yourself and owning yourself in every sense of the term. Finishing off strong here with Pisces rising. Pisces, yours falls in the 12th house. The 12th house in astrology is about endings. It's about closure. It's about healing, spirituality, meditation, solitude, karma, old age, issues of, the afterlife, knowing, finding out what's hidden, limitations, limiting beliefs, limitations regarding how we think about ourselves, how we think about the world, perhaps feeling jaded. It's about our subconscious mind. You're being asked to go deep within to reconnect with divinity, with God, so that you can use your God consciousness to light your way. You see, the world wants us divided. The world wants us to hate ourselves, and the world wants us to hate each other because we're different. But God wants us to love ourselves, and God wants us to love each other because we're the same. You see that? The world loves dichotomy, good versus bad, white versus black. And God loves colors, the entire spectrum of colors, including the rainbow. And that's why when you look at nature and biodiversity, you can clearly see that God really loves all sorts of colors. So, Pisces, as a spiritual guru of the zodiac, you're being asked to play a role with the collective where you are letting your true essence be seen. And your true essence is one of unconditional love, love of all, a love of everything and everyone. And you are the best person to teach us about what it's like to be at that level energetically, because you, unlike all the others, know that we're all the same. You know that what we do to ourselves is what we do to others. You know that our karma is reflected in not just what we do, but the intentions behind what we do and how we do it. You understand spirituality much more than everyone else. And this is an opportunity for you to shed yourself of what's keeping you from being able to be your true, authentic self when it comes to how you connect with nature, how you connect with animals, how you connect with other humans, and how you basically live life. Aquarius is about friendship. Aquarius is about connection. Aquarius is about how do we do life as a community. So if you notice that you're not where you want to be with regards to your social connections, this is an opportunity for you to resume building up your social connections around these values of self-love and universal love. And 6 months from now, if you truly devote yourself to that cause, you will notice how much more full your life is going to be, and you will be feeling more soulful. All right, so let's summarize. Expect the unexpected. Let's go over all 12 zodiac signs in terms of what they should expect. For you, Aries rising, expect the unexpected in your friendships. For you, Taurus, expect the unexpected in your career. For you, Gemini, expect the unexpected when it comes to your relationship with spirituality, with knowledge, with higher learning, with your intuition. Cancer rising, expect the unexpected when it comes to your ability to transform yourself into your ideal self. Leo rising, expect the unexpected with regards to your partnerships and your marriage life. Virgo rising, expect the unexpected with regards to your work life and your health. Libra rising, expect the unexpected when it comes to how much pleasure you can derive from the new connections that you're in the process of making, and how much pleasure you can derive from pursuing your passions. Scorpio rising, expect the unexpected when it comes to your relationship with your sensitivity and your relationship with your home life and your family life. Sagittarius rising, expect the unexpected with regards to how your communication can drastically change your world and, as a result, the world. Capricorn rising, expect the unexpected when it comes to the things that you value, the things that you put effort in. There is a lot more value in life beyond money. And some of these values you can never put a price on. So expect the unexpected when you begin to center those things in your life, as opposed to just centering, the material world. Aquarius rising, expect the unexpected when it comes to your identity, your ego, your sense of self, and the level of impact that you can make in the world. Pisces rising, expect the unexpected when it comes to your ability to deeply understand yourself by digging into your subconscious mind and watch the universe, God, reveal some truths to you about love that you never knew, about love and friendship that you never knew. Now, let's go ahead and wrap up our podcast for today by talking about the best way to manifest with this full moon. We manifest best with words, images, and sounds. Words, images, and sounds. with Aquarius energy. Okay, so it's about experimenting with words, images, and sounds. So that would be like a vision board. That would be like repeating a mantra to yourself. It could be saying out loud what your intentions are, writing your intentions and reading them out loud to yourself. It's also about speaking your desires out loud or in your heart, via prayer or via an invocation to the universe. It could be a morning affirmation over the next couple of weeks where you're repeating that to yourself, and watch how amazing your life is transformed over the next 6 months. The thing about Aquarius is when you are committed, and that's where the fixed energy is, when you put all of your chips in the game, right? And when you wholeheartedly believe in what you're doing, and if you're doing it for the right reasons, which is to help the world be a better place, everything is given to you. This is precisely why, when people take advantage of Aquarian energy and use it in a negative, everything is taken away from them, because Aquarius is the only star that comes here to give everything to the world as the water bearer. Remember, water is blessings, right? Water is blessings. So remember to drink your water, stay hydrated, stay grounded, mind your business, rise above petty exchanges and conversations, and focus on your vision. And if your vision is to make the world a better place in your capacity, whether that is to cook the best meal, to feed your family, or to take a yoga class, to work on your health, stay committed to it and focus on that. And everything else that does not align with your vision, it's time to chuck it. So it's time to let go of people, places, and situations that no longer serve you.
That's all that I have for today. Thank you so much for listening to the Astrology Weekly podcast. Head over to our YouTube channel at Astrology Weekly and subscribe. You can join our private manifestation group on Patreon at Intuitive Healing. You may also purchase a confidential astrology reading on Patreon if you would like to have more intimate time with me. I provide individual as well as relationship compatibility readings. I'll catch up with you in 2 weeks for another podcast.